Have you thought about actually starting a delivery business with one van? Sometimes people talk about, well, I want to start a transportation business, but I'm thinking about having a fleet. Why do you need a fleet? You can start with one van. And the thing is, when you start little, you have the opportunity to measure what's happening in the industry. You can avoid very costly mistakes. And there are a lot of things, there are a lot of benefits that come with starting a delivery business with one van. Let's talk about that. Let me first give you an overview here. Basically, when we talk about transportation business, a lot of us believe that, hey, I just need to have my cargo van, my sprinter van, and just drive around town, and I have a transportation business. It's way, way, way more than that. Okay, when we talk about transportation businesses, you have a lot of options. And this is why sometimes we tell our viewers and our business clients, for that matter, to always know how to position yourself. It's very important to know, like, whether or not you want to do let's say you want to do first mile, middle mile, or last mile. A lot of owner operators don't think in those terms. They think, I'm just gonna go on load boards. I'm just gonna grab whatever loads are available. I'm gonna haul them, and that's it. This is why This is why your ass is not generating revenue, because you don't know how to position yourself. So when we talk about transportation business right now, I want you to think deep in terms of how do I want to do first mile, middle mile, or last mile. First mile meaning like you are getting the loads from the manufacturer all the way to the middleman. Okay, and we have another show when we actually dissected the whole difference between first mile, last mile, and middle mile. But what I'm trying to say here is that it's very important to understand that when we talk about transportation, there's a lot of things you can do, and sometimes you don't even have to deliver goods only. You can deliver people. Oh yeah. When we talk about transportation, you can actually deliver people. Okay, so I want you to open up your mind. I want you to cast a wider net when you think about you want to start a delivery business or a transportation business with one van. Think big. Okay. By the way, boss, welcome back to the show. It's really a pleasure to have you here. We just love having this sort of conversations every now and then. What I want to do here is that when we talk about opening a transportation business with one van, you have to choose the vehicle appropriately. And this depends on how you position yourself. What kind of market, what kind of niche you want to go after. There are certain niches that you can't use a cargo van, certain niches you can't use an 18-wheeler, some niches you can't use a semi. So you got to be really clear about how. Let me give you a few pro tips first, because before we talk about a transportation business, after analyzing what kind of niche you want to open your business in, it's important to have a clear idea about the fundamental cost, the foundational cost, the startup cost. The thing is, anytime we talk about cost, we have to be really careful, because we're speaking to the whole United States, and a lot of people will say, well, you throw in numbers and those numbers don't apply to my geography. I get that. Okay. I get the fact that if I'm saying you need to actually spend $5,000 a year or a quarter when it comes to gas, whether you are in New York City or you are in, I don't know, in Toledo, I mean, those are not the same thing. Or if you're somewhere in Alabama, you don't have the same sort of cost. Okay, I get that, but I'm just giving you an idea to say, listen, though, here are the expenses I want you to pay attention to. If you are going to start a thriving transportation business, pay attention to fuel expenses. Boss, I'm telling you, those expenses can really add up real fast. Okay. By the way, I want to quickly remind you of today's topic. I'm having a conversation. I'm explaining to you how to start a profitable transportation business with one van, only one van. We're not talking about having a fleet here. Okay. You are a solopreneur. You are an owner operator. You have your van. You have your cargo van, your sprinter van. Okay. And then to a certain extent, you have your box truck, and you're trying to survive with that box truck. You're trying to survive with that sprinter van. You're trying to survive with the cargo van. Do something. So please pay attention to your fuel expenses. Pay attention to the marketing for the business. You got to market the business. Those loads ain't coming simply because you happen to have a very shiny van. No, boss, it ain't happening that way. You need to market the business. And I keep telling you, it's not about just going on load boards and trying to really grab here and there a few loads from the load boards, from that, whatever. No. There are other ways to look for loads. There are other ways to look for local shippers. You have to buy the necessary equipment according to the type of service you want to provide. You have to actually acquire the licenses that you need for the business. And you need to get your vehicle insured. You need to get that van insured because that van is your assets, literally. Now, let me give you the approach that you need to pay attention to. The approach is that you need to have, like, you need to clarify in your mind. You need to be sure that a transportation business is profitable, because there are some players online that trying to really discourage you and say, well, transportation is no longer is saturated. You know, it's very competitive. Rates are going down. Blah 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 blah. I'm here to tell you here, standing on the shoulders of our team members who have been doing this for 35 years, boss. This industry is profitable more than ever. Is more profitable than ever. You are making money. People are banking. People are making bank right now. It's not about rates are going down. It's just because you have to find your niche. You have to find your positioning. You have to see. If you remember earlier, I was just talking to you about how do you position yourself. First mile, middle mile, last mile. That's number one. Number two, how do you charge for your services? See, a lot of folks, a lot of solopreneurs, a lot of owner operators, they only think in terms of rate per hour, RPH. But RPH is dead, boss. RPH is like something that was like, you know, like 20, 30 years ago. Nowadays, you have RPM, rate per mile. You have RPC, rate per contract. Okay, RPL, rate per load. This is how you make money. Because if you start talking about, you know, RPH, I'm charging like, you know, I'm gonna drive 8 hours and I want you to pay me $20 an hour. People start thinking already, okay, he's too cheap or he's too expensive. Like, you know, like I want an RPH of $35 or $45. Okay, so what's next? You want to have the queen of, you want to have the crown of the Queen of England or whatever, or the King of England? You know, listen. The bottom line here is that you want to switch how you charge for your services. Go for RPM, rate per mile. Go for RPC, rate per contract. Go for RPL, rate per load. Okay, but definitely transportation is booming. A transportation business is profitable. You can make anywhere from $100,000 to $350K, and I'm talking about clear net expenses. Okay, your net income, $350,000. Free and clear, boss. And we have the data to back it up. Let me give you the steps I want you to follow right now if you want to start a profitable transportation business with one van. Okay, let's have a clear idea about that. The very first step I want you to really take right now is to do your research. Okay, doing research doesn't mean you have to actually go on Google, whatever. No. When it comes to transportation, everything is geography based. Okay. I mean, you know, like you can't be somewhere in New York trying to compete with a delivery driver, like an owner operator somewhere in Texas. No, it is geography based. Now, meaning what? It means that when you choose to like if you carve out for yourself a certain geography, you need to be really careful about the neighboring geographies. Let me explain. If you want to haul loads in New York City, you can't do this without taking into account what's happening in the tri-state area. You know, this is important. Like if you were to ignore what's happening in Jersey, if you were to ignore what's happening in Connecticut, then you really have not understood what's happening in the industry at all. Because the tri-state area is always important. The metropolitan area is always important. You can't be in the city, you can't be in Manhattan, and say, you know, I don't care about what's happening in Queens. I don't care what's happening in Long Island. I don't care what's happening in Brooklyn. I don't care what's happening in the Bronx. You gotta care. Or I don't care what's happening in Mount Vernon. Like, you gotta care about those things. Okay, so the bottom line here is that geography plays an important role. So when you do your research, you have to look at your primary geography, like the geography you can cover. It can be a city, it can be a county. Okay, and you have to select a niche, boss. Select a niche. What kind of loads you want to haul? Okay, mind you only have one van. Okay, you can do a lot of things. You can do a full delivery. You can do goods delivery. You can do moving delivery. You can do a medical items. You can be a medical courier, for example. You can do a taxi service. You can do a service for e-commerce companies. Okay, you can do that. You can do medical transportations. You can do a lot of things. Okay, but you have to choose a niche. You have to select. You have to differentiate. This is how you differentiate yourself, boss. Okay, so that's the number two. That's the second thing I want you to do right now. The third thing I want you to do here is to choose the right vehicle. Remember, you only have one van. You only have one chance, boss. So you better make sure that you have the van that you really need. Okay, whether it is a Sprinter van, whether it is a cargo van, or whether it is a box truck. Make sure the van. See, it's not about how beautiful or whatever how beautiful the van is, right? Who cares about beauty? I mean, beauty is kind of cool. You want to be comfortable. Okay. That's what it is, because you'll be spending 8 hours a day in that van, sometimes doing OTR, driving from one state to another, and you want that van to be comfortable. Okay, you want the van to have basic amenities like Wi-Fi and whatnot. This is important. This is what's going to help you actually survive on those cold, lonely days, boss. Because remember, the radio ain't going to help you simply because you listen to radio. Sometimes you are going to face your own thoughts. If you're doing OTR, you are going to face your own thoughts. It happens in the industry. Okay, so choose the right vehicle. Now you have to also think about how to fund the vehicle too, though, because if you have to, do you want to buy it? Do you want to lease it? Okay, I mean, we have covered this on other shows. Either options is possible, but there are the possibilities. The possibilities are different. Because if you want to lease a vehicle, if you want to lease a van, a cargo van, a Sprinter van, a box truck, it really depends on your finances. But if you were to buy versus lease it, if you were to buy, for instance, you need to maybe put some down payment. Do you have the 10% that the lender is asking you? If you consider a cargo van, a new cargo van or used cargo van, and that's probably costing you like 45 grand. And if they ask you to put 10% down, that's 4,500. Or if they ask you to put 20% down, that's 9,000. Do you have the 9 grand? So we have covered this on other shows. So I'm not really going to talk too much about this, but the next thing I want you to do here is to arrange your finances. Okay, here I'm talking about you really clearing up some kind of you want to leave out all the kinks out of your proverbial financial closet. Okay, because you're going to need some cash. You're going to need some cash not only to acquire the van, if you don't have a van already, or you're going to need some cash to lease the van, but you're going to need some cash for startup capital, okay? Because things like admin stuff, you need to file paperwork with the state. You need to actually, you need to also make sure that you get the basic stuff. I mean, those are things that you'll need. Every company needs that, whether the company is in the transportation business or not. The next thing I want you to do here is to get the correct licenses and permits, okay? And the thing here is that when we talk about licensing and permitting, there are two elements to pay attention to. You got to pay attention to the state to where you're hailing from, okay? And the second thing is you have to pay attention to the niche you have chosen. Let me explain that. I mean, if you are in New York, the requirements are different will be different from if you are somewhere in Alabama, or you are in Oregon, or if you are somewhere in New Mexico. The rules are different. Okay, transportation is a federal and state thing. Okay, but if we're talking about if you're doing purely like a van transportation within a state, then you don't need to have authority. You don't need to have authority. You're pretty good. You don't need to have an MC number and whatever and that number. No. Once you cross state boundaries, once you cross state lanes, then we're talking about something else. So if you start doing OTR, then you might actually have to get authority. Okay. So this is really important. I want you to check that authority think very seriously, because it does have consequences. If you get caught, if cops pull you over and you don't have authority, you are toast. Big time. Okay, so you want to have the correct licenses and permits. For example, if you choose to haul reefer loads, like refrigerated loads, for example, make sure you have the proper equipment in your cargo van, Sprinter van, or a box truck, or whatever you have. Okay, this is really important. And last but not the least, boss, this is not even the last. Why am I saying this? You want to get insurance. You want to get insurance. If you want to start a transportation business with one van, you got to have insurance, because that insurance is multi-layered though. Because I'm not talking about insurance just for the car for the vehicle itself. Because you got to insure not only the vehicle, but you have to insure yourself, boss, yourself. Okay. And the thing I want to say here is that when we talk about insurance, don't forget that you only need one bad luck or one instance of bad luck to actually put everything back, like one instance of misfortune to really shatter all your dreams. So don't take that insurance thing for granted. You need to have your insurance. Don't play with it. Okay, don't play with it. Next thing I want you to do here is to actually promote your business. So if you want to start a transportation business and with one van and start making money right away, okay, you got to promote your business, because the whole thing here is that if your potential clients, boss, I just want you to picture this. Imagine all the hard work you have actually done, right? You have done a lot of preparation. You talk to some lawyers or somebody like you actually went to an ALC formation service. You have your business. You talk to the state authorities. They send you a certificate of good standing. You actually have articles of incorporation or articles of organization based on your legal structure. You've done everything. Like, think about it. You've done everything. You even open a bank account. You got your EIN. Everything that you were supposed to get, you get it. You got it. Okay. Now imagine you did everything, but you're not able. Nobody knows you. It's normal. It's normal. Like, nobody knows you. It doesn't happen overnight. So if your potential clients are not aware of your business, they will not engage with you. So you got to really consider the marketing tools to promote your business and build your reputation as a transportation provider. The thing here is that when we talk about promotion is a niche thing. Oh yeah. I mean, you're not going to find promotion that is generic. No, it has to be specific to the niche that you're in. It has to be tailored. It has to be really, really, really bespoke. Otherwise, it ain't going to work. Don't try to fight the system. Don't try to fight it. It is what it is. This is how things have been going for many, many, many years now. And the thing I'm trying to say here is that it's important to know exactly what's the kind of communication you want to have, like the kind of ads you want to run ads on Facebook, for example, for your transportation business. You want to do some CPC, and don't forget to actually have your company listed on Google Business, okay? So that if people are searching like things locally, your business will pop up, and you want your business to pop up anyway. Okay, and this is a source of free advertising. Okay, and then you get started. Make sure you take care of the legal aspect of things. Okay, make sure you have your bank account. You need to have a bank account. You need to have your EIN. I've spoken about that before. Your employer identification number. Those things are not really complicated. You can do it. You can do it yourself. Don't let anybody razzle dazzle you, telling you, "Hey, listen, I'm gonna charge you $1,000, and I'll do everything for you. I'll get your EIN." And no. They're just confusing the hell out of you. You can do things yourself online. Just go on irs.gov and try to and ask for the EIN. Once you get the EIN, you should be good to go. Okay, you get your EIN. You can use the EIN to open a business checking account. You can also use that to get a lease, or you can actually finance your van. Okay, so once you have all that, you should be able to go. But again, if there is one thing I want you to remember from this story, is to always choose your niche. Is to always position yourself, because this industry, it's really weird. Anytime we get comments underneath our video, it's always, "Hey, yeah, this industry is saturated. Rates are going down." And I'm like, it's kind of funny. I mean, this is not what we're saying. I mean, we're seeing the opposite in our clients' data. We're seeing the opposite. Our clients are making money. Our clients are banking, because they have positioned themselves, because they have actually differentiated themselves from others in the industry. And boss, this is what I want you to do too. I want you to really find a way to differentiate yourself, to go after, to go literally the extra mile, the mile that is not traveled often, so that you or a very few are on that mile. And this is really where this is where you start making the money. thank you so much for your attention. I really appreciate it. In today's conversation, I was just explaining to you how to start a transportation business with one van. I gave you the overview about the whole industry. I gave you a few pro tips in terms of cost analysis, okay? Then I gave you a few steps in helping you making sure that you actually start a very profitable transportation business. And I just want to reassure you, transportation business is a very profitable venture. Thank you. God bless you. I'll speak to you another time. But until then, remember, stay marvelous.